Hello again. Today I would like to explore a fascinating phenomena in biblical text, a very small nuance on the surface that is usually not noticed, but I believe holds within it a very deep and profound message. This nuance in the text has to do with a description of a unique and beautiful place, a place that holds deep meaning to our national and religious history, a place that begins all the way back to the earliest days of our forefathers, dear to every single one of them, plays a pivotal role in the preparation for the conquest of the land, and holds within it the key to the development of the dynasty of King David. It is a place that is in the city of Hebron, known as the Cave of the Patriarchs, or well known in the Torah in the term Me'arat HaMachpelah. The Cave of HaMachpelah is best understood as the duplicates. It is because probably the duplicate rooms that are within the cave. Me'arat HaMachpelah was purchased by Abraham from the people of Chet, specifically from Ephron, the Hittite. And it was purchased for a great sum of money in order to be able to use as a burial site for his wife Sarah. This cave is later used as his own burial site. It is used as a burial site for his son Yitzchak and his wife Rivka, and later for his great daughter-in-law Leah and his grandson Yaakov. Tradition even tells us that long before them, this was the cave that was used as the burial spot for Adam and Chava, the first humans to walk this planet. So this cave that holds within it the remains of our patriarchs has such great significance that when Kalev, one of the 12 spies sent by Moshe to spy the land, departs from the rest of the spies, knowing all too well their ill intent, he journeys to Hebron. He journeys to the Cave of the Patriarchs to pray, to ask God for guidance, and to ask God for the strength and courage that it will require to stand up to their evil plot. It is later the site in which David declares himself king as he starts the journey to becoming king over all of Israel. Yet, the Cave of the Patriarchs, throughout all of Chumash, throughout all of the Torah, is called a very strange thing. It is titled Me'arat HaMachpelah with a caveat, Asher Bisdeh Ephron HaChiti, the cave that is within the field of Ephron the Hittite. Very strange, considering that the Torah goes through painstaking measures to detail for us all of the nuances of the negotiations over this piece of land. You see, the people of Chet, when first approached by Abraham seeking a burial plot for his wife, tell him quite clearly, Abraham, Nisi Elohim ata betochenu. You are a president of God. You are a divine leader of this nation, of this place. We know your special rights over this land. We know who you are. You may choose whichever land you want. None of us would even imagine denying you any of our own burial plots. Please pick what you want. And Avram, in his modesty, turns to them and says, No, 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 my dear people. Please speak to Ephron. I would like to purchase the cave that is within his field. Not only the cave will I will purchase the field, all of the trees that are in the field, and all of the boundaries that are around the field, and I will pay him quite handsomely for it. And Ephron, trying to show off to his people, says to Avram, Oh, no, no, no need for any money, please. It's all yours. And Avram insists, No, 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 I will buy it. I will pay full price for it. Please sell it for me. To which Ephron replies with an unbelievable audacity, asking for no less than 400 pure shekel stones or coins, a fabulous sum for that time period. A fabulous sum for any time period. Probably one of the most expensive real estate deals ever done for a cave. a burial plot. And yet Avram buys it all too gladly. And once again, the Torah details for us, he bought the cave and the field and the trees and everything that was around it. And yet, every single time this cave is mentioned, it is mentioned again and again as the cave that is within the field of Ephron, the Hittite. Why mention it as the field of Ephron? What a strange statement. Perhaps we need to explore a wonderful statement by our sages that raises much questions, particularly in contemporary eyes. Say our sages, there are 3 places to which the nations of the world cannot say, you are thieves, you stole the land. Or as we like to say in contemporary language, you are occupiers. Those 3 places are Me'arat HaMachpelah, the cave of the patriarchs, Kever Yosef, the gravesite of Yosef, which is in the city of Shechem, and Temple Mount, the place that is going to be the future site of the building of Beit HaMikdash. You see, all 3 of these places were purchased by our sages, by our forefathers. Abraham bought Me'arat HaMachpelah, Yaakov bought the area of Shechem, and King David, after conquering the city of David, the area of Jerusalem, from the Jebusites, does not conquer Temple Mount that is immediately adjacent, but rather chooses to pay for it, full price, from Arvana. Thus, he becomes the owner of the mountain that is going to be the site of the temple. 3 places, say the sages, the nations of the world will not be able to say that you're thieves and you stole. These 3 places were purchased by our forefathers. We have the documents, we have the proof. How strange. What an odd statement to make. Do we really think that any nation in the world cares about what our biblical stories tell? Is it this book? Is it this book that is our true proof? Even if the nations of the world did believe in the Bible, in its form, the way we know it, in its original form, is this enough evidence for a real estate transaction? Is this evidence we can present to anyone? In fact, examine the bitter irony. In the sovereign state of Israel, when finally the Jewish people merited returning home and gaining hold of the entire land, there are 3 places that were under our conquest that we relinquished control over and handed it over to the Waqf, the higher Islamic religious order, to take care of. Yes, Me'arat HaMachpelah, the city of Shechem, and Temple Mount are not truly in the control of the Jewish people today. So why is it that we cannot lay claim? Or perhaps what is it that our sages were really trying to tell us? Well, if you would like to examine the first Rashi on the Torah, which we will not expand on now due to our time limitations, the Rashi there brings a statement by Rabbi Yitzchak teaching us an answer to the immoral question of why was the Torah designed to start from the stories of Genesis and the stories of the development of the forefathers and everything that ensued. After all, if the Torah is to be a book of laws, perhaps the proper place to start would have been with the first commandment. When Moses is told to tell the young Israel nation still in Egypt that there will be a top of the month, there will be a new month, there will be a Jewish calendar, a lunar calendar to follow. And thus, they will have obligations and commandments that will follow the holiday of Pesach, Passover, and all that ensues. So perhaps the Torah should have started from there, because as a book of law, we should have started from the first commandment. And quickly answers Rabbi Yitzchak, no, of course not. Because we need to be able to stand up to the nations of the world and say, the land of Israel is ours. It was given to us by God. And for that, we need to have the history. We need to understand how we developed into a people, where we came from, and how we became the chosen people, and thus how God chose us to receive his chosen land and gave it to us. Of course, the question is the same. Do we really need to prove this to the nations of the world? And the answer is, of course not. It is not about the nations of the world. It is all about us. It is all about our conviction. It is all about our understanding and belief in what is truly ours. Our sages wanted us to take a hard look at ourselves and say, Do you believe that you're a thief? Do you believe that you're an occupier? Or do you believe that this land and every single fraction of it, every single meter, every single centimeter of it is ours? It is ours because God has granted it to us. He has granted it to our forefathers and promised it to our children and grandchildren forever and ever. And thus, if it is ours, we need to believe that wholeheartedly and understand that we can never be thieves of our own property. We can never be occupiers of our own land. If we truly believed that, we would be in a very different position. You see, I believe that our sages were delicately launching somewhat of a criticism of the need to purchase something that is truly yours. Imagine this. Imagine one decides to give his children a gift, and he spends a great deal of money picking out the most appropriate gift, wraps it nicely, and delivers it to his child. And this gift makes his child very happy. And yet, this child, for some reason, feels uncomfortable and has a need to find the store from which this gift was given and go to the store and pay for the gift again. Why does Abraham feel the need to purchase the cave of the patriarchs? When the people of Chet turn to him and say, Nisi Elohim ata betochenu, you are a president of God, what they were saying was, we acknowledge you have a special relationship with God. This land was given to you. We know that. We know your stature and your standing. And if you choose to take a grave from us, none of us will deny that of you. After all, in truth, it is yours. Abraham at that point should have had enough courage, should have had enough conviction in his belief of the ownership of the land to be able to say, yes, you're right. This is the land that I want. If he then chooses to give compensation or a gift to Ephron, that would be an entirely different matter. Perhaps it would be the correct moral thing to do. A nice gesture. But first, proclaim your ownership. The minute Abraham chose to purchase the land, the minute that his approach was saying, no, it's not really mine, I have to buy it, the land became forever the land of Ephron the Hittite. To teach us that money cannot purchase the land. Money can only temporarily solve the problem. The true ownership of the land is a question of conviction. It's a question of belief. You see, the Torah time and time again tells us the cave is going to be in the field of Ephron because in some way Ephron forever held on to the ownership. He didn't really let it go. He wasn't really relinquishing his ownership. And Abraham didn't step up to the plate and really grab ownership over it. In the same way, Yaakov buying the land of Shechem around Shechem at a moment of weakness, not recognizing that his two children will have command over the city. And indeed, it becomes his. And David, King David, with all of his might and all of his glory, does not complete the conquest, but rather feels the need to purchase the mountain. And thus, there are three places that the sages tell us we will be able to say to the nations of the world, we did not steal. Indeed, these three places, if we had enough courage to be able to understand the great gift that God has given us, then that courage would have guided us to be able to hold on to it without any inhibition, without any question. And yet today, in our generation, once again we face this great challenge. And we ask ourselves, are we courageous enough to stand up and say, this is the cave of the patriarchs, this is one of the most significant and holiest of sites to the Jewish people? There is no place for sharing this place. Yes, if other nations want to come visit, if Islamic believers would like to come and enjoy this place, they're welcome, as long as they know who the owner is. Perhaps if we understood our true ownership over the Temple Mount, if perhaps we understood the importance of Temple Mount to our religion, if perhaps we understood the pivotal importance of Temple Mount to the future of the foundation of the state of Israel, perhaps then we would not have relinquished its control. Perhaps then we would have allowed every Jew that wants to come to the gates of Temple Mount and pray, instead of the situation that we have created in our own hands today. And thus, the message is, God has given us a tremendous gift, but the gift is contingent upon us believing in the gift. It is contingent upon us standing tall and understanding this land is ours, and we are honored to be the children of this land.